Welcome, everyone, to the Sasquatch Outpost podcast, episode 75. I'm your host, Jim Myers.
And I'm your co-host, Sibylla Irwin.
We are excited to be here for a great evening with a couple of awesome live witnesses who've had life-changing encounters with Sasquatch and found some incredible evidence of Sasquatch. How are you, Sibylla?
I'm good. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm happy you have your power because your power has been out for a couple hours, right?
Yes, it was a little iffy this morning.
It was a little iffy, but she comes through in a pinch. That's Sibylla.
Thank you, God, for those linemen who get up there on those poles and fix things.
And in the summertime, it's all like here. It's almost always somebody hits a pole for some reason, knocks it down, and then the power goes out for that whole sector. So they obviously had to get a new pole up, but they're pretty quick. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Thank God for those people.
Thank God for those people. And let's see, we've got, I'm not going to play because this is a pre-recorded episode, I'm not going to play the upcoming events and things. We'll do that on the previous episode, the next live episode, which will be this coming Tuesday. But the episode we're recording now is episode 75. So we had the folks that I wanted to record for different reasons. We needed to do it pre-recorded. So you get to see our pretty faces, but Sibylla and I will be in the chat for this episode. So, okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play our quick disclaimer, and then I'm going to bring in our first guest. So here we go. Okay, this is Kelly and Josh Ortiz. Glad to have you guys.
Thanks.
There's a bit of a delay. They are down by Alamosa, and their internet is not fantastic. Unfortunately, that's the way it is in Colorado. You get it good internet or you get terrible internet.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And Kelly, just give us a quick introduction. We've had you on the show before with your husband, Christopher, but tell us a little bit about yourselves and your son.
Okay. So I'm Kelly Ortiz. I am retired Forest Service. I was actually a landscape architect and did a lot of recreation work, did timber work, fire work. And my husband was actually retired law enforcement for the Forest Service as well. And then this is our son, Joshua, who is going to be a senior in high school this year.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
And may I say, you're rocking those cowboy hats, by the way. We love you getting into. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Kelly, you reached out to me about a trip you had recently up in Canada. And I believe you said you were in Jasper Park. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we left about 3 weeks ago, and we spent about 10 days traipsing around the woods up Jasper, Banff, Kootenai, Radium, and Yoho. So we probably put on at least 100 miles over 8 to 10 days easily, just hiking, biking in the backcountry. So, and we've had many experiences down here, and I didn't really, I don't know, I'm kind of always on the lookout for kind of the strange and different stuff, but I didn't really anticipate anything. But I just happened to snap this picture when we were hiking in, it's on the way to Moline Lake. And of course, that's all burned now. We got out like 2 days before that. The whole thing is like, that's going to look very different now in those pictures. I know, it's really sad. So where we ate dinner, that's burned to the ground. Where we got gas, that's burned to the ground. It's so sad. It's just so disheartening.
And that was a lightning strike, correct? That caused that fire?
It was a lightning strike. And when we were coming back over the pass, we could see a big wind sort of whipped up, and we were coming over one of the passes, and there was just lightning all around us. We thought for sure we were going to get moved from our camp, but we never did, because it spread from the ice. I think it's called the Iceway Parkway, like north. So south, we still had a lot of smoke, but it never hit us in the south, because we were already in Kootenai, in the canyon on the Kootenai River when that happened. We'd moved from Jasper like that day before. But and by the way, the campgrounds, everything's gone. Like, it's just so sad, but like, it's just unreal to think about that, that we just left, and we have all these great pictures of like downtown, and then it's just gone. So.
And you said they evacuated
where we were
25.
Hiking, I mean, we 1,000 people in 5 hours.
25,000 people in 5 hours.
Oh, crazy. My God.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Wow. People were they were pretty scared. I mean, if you listen to the interviews, the funny thing is we didn't know this was going on around us, because where we were staying, we had no internet. So all these things were happening like worldwide, and we didn't know anything about it until we actually left and got out, and we got into Radium and then went south, and then we got some pretty good coverage on our cell phones. But other than that, we just didn't know.
Wow. I'm so glad you guys were safe.
Yeah.
Unaware.
Me too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sad.
Yeah, very sad. Well, you sent me some photos, which I'm going to put up now.
So okay.
And this is from Google Earth. And let me move to the next slide.
Okay.
So I got
if that yellow pin on there, if you take, if you just go a little bit north into the east, and this is a picture in the wintertime, which when I looked it up on Google Earth, that's all I could find was like a wintertime picture. But those lakes are much smaller in the summer, and it's pretty hot and dry up there now, hence the fire. But if you just go up about 1 o'clock, it was about 4. I'm guessing, just in terms of the measurements, it was about 4.5 miles in. And it's just as the little, because that's between two mountain ranges. And if you just kind of head right and head northeast again, just as you turn the corner, there's another little lake in there. And it was on the west side of the lake that we came across these prints. And of course, there was prints everywhere. There was grizzlies, raccoon, moose, elk, deer, you name it. Like there was hundreds or maybe even more than that. And so I'm assuming that everything was like a watering hole, but they were dried in the mud. So it wasn't like recent, because it looked like maybe the lake had receded and then dried up those prints. But it was on, okay, so if that picture that you're seeing right now on the left side is where we got the print picture. And then at the end, looking towards the mountains, is where most of the grizzly prints were, although there was a few like peppered around. But the one print just looked so different to me that I thought it was worth like snapping a picture of it and then just getting my foot in there for scale. So my foot is a size 8 and my hiking boots a size 8 next to the grizzly print and the print. So that's the grizzly print. And it's still a pretty good size grizzly. Like I don't necessarily want to be around when it's down at that water for sure. But and we weren't really allowed to carry any weapons or anything, so we had bear spray on this. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I guess that's up for debate whether the bear spray, would a charging grizzly, I don't know if it would stop it or not. But we didn't stick around for very long. We just saw the scenery and then kind of kept moving, but we had a big group, so that was good. And then the other print, I didn't see any claw marks or anything, and it was quite a bit bigger. I just could not figure out what was maybe happening with that. So I brought Joshua over. And we had other people with us. In fact, one of them was a biologist, but just kind of stepped over it and didn't really think about it. And I said, wait, let's at least get a picture of it because I don't know what's going on. So it was like one print that had pretty good definition where you can see the toes. A second print that looks like possibly moose had stepped in it. So I didn't really take a picture of that because I think it was corrupted by maybe other animal prints in it. And then there was a series of 3 or 4 in the lake. But again, there was no way to know what that was because it was still wet. And there's a good chance that the water had really sort of eaten away at it. But the print was big. So I don't really know what we ran into. But that's why I sent you the picture, Jim, because I just didn't want to write it off, but I didn't necessarily know what to call it either. And so, when you're out there, you're trying to make sense of it. You're like, well,
sure.
It could be a grizzly print with another back paw in it because we've seen that, or the back foot. But there's no claw marks. And and it looked like when I took it, I know it's hard to see, but it looked like there was sort of a break in the middle of that print. And I think what I might do is put that into Photoshop to see if I can pull anything out of that's more clear.
Yeah. Look at the width of it. I mean, it's really wide.
Yeah.
But you can see I know. If that's a grizzly print, that's the biggest grizzly print I've ever seen in my life. I mean, that would be the equivalent of like, and I've been to Kodiak and the coast of Alaska because I worked up there for the Forest Service. That would be a very large print even for there. That would be a large print.
Yeah.
So,
but like you said,
I don't know.
The lack of nails, though.
It's an interesting.
Yeah, there's no claw marks.
Right. Yeah.
And with a grizzly, the claw marks are obvious.
The strange part is there was like 1 or 2. Right. And it was like there was 1 or 2 prints, and then they went into the water, stopped, and then that was it. because I drifted back into the woods a little bit to sort of see if I could see anything else. And then we circled the lake. All of us did. Yeah, right? So I don't know. It just seemed very suspect. And of course, as soon as I took the picture, I wanted to send it to you, Jim, but I didn't have any cell phone coverage for 4 more days. So I had to wait to get someplace before I could send that to you. But I just studied it and looked at it and studied it. And I really wished that I had some kind of a plaster. When we go to the Pacific Northwest, we carry that stuff with us just in case, because we're out on the Olympic Peninsula. But this time I didn't really think about it or anticipate it, and was more of a, but we just didn't bring anything. And I probably wouldn't have thought to haul it in there, because typically in those national parks, so it's weird. There's either 1 million people on the trail with you or nobody. And so in many places there were so many other people on the trail, but this trail, did we see anybody? I don't think we saw anybody on this trail, which was great. So it was just us.
Josh, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's definitely odd. When she called me over, I mean, my first thought was that it was a bear, but then she started to point out toes, right? And then you couldn't see the claw marks. And then it was really exceptionally big and wide for a bear. And then I looked at it more, and it is true. Like, there is that weird thing in the middle, like a mid-tarsal break, like what you would see with the Sasquatch. So it kind of caught me off guard. And I just don't know. It's really strange.
I kind of traced this,
and I'll be honest with you, Jim.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but I looked at it again today, and I thought that if you look really close, it almost looks like there's toes, smaller toes, just below those larger toes. But again, I wouldn't be able to know unless I put that into Illustrator or to Photoshop to really enhance that to see. But I don't know. Maybe it's something else. I just don't know.
It's really too bad you couldn't cast it, because then you would get all the detail of that foot that you have a hard time seeing in a photo.
I don't know. To me, the toes
I agree,
are really...
and I feel ashamed. I've let the whole community down.
To me, the toes are just really impressive.
Everybody down.
Yeah.
The way they're straight across
for
the most part. Like it's real straight across, and the whole footprint is rather blocky. And that's just so typical of a Sasquatch footprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, the toes alone give me hope that this is a Sasquatch, because there's absolutely no claw marks on those toes.
And just the fact that they're straight, look at they're straight across.
You did see in the other one.
Human tracks don't look like that.
Right.
No.
And even the bears, even the bears have kind of a curve to them.
They don't.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and even how dry it was, the claw marks, I noticed the difference. The grizzly print, the toe indentations were longer, and then you could clearly see the claw marks at the top. But these are shorter and little squattier. Yeah. And then even with it being dried, even if water had seeped in, there's still no claw marks that I could see.
No.
Well, this is a great example of finding a track that looks like a Bigfoot track, and I'm glad you sent it, because if it looks at all like a Bigfoot track, I want to put it up on the screen, let our folks take a look as well, see what Sibylla thinks. But you may very well have a Bigfoot track here. I think there's a very good chance that's what that is.
I don't know what else it could
Yeah.
be, honestly. Like, what else has
And
a
it's a
square
little
foot like
unnerving. Yeah. That's
No.
exactly what we were thinking too.
No,
And
I don't
and
either.
it's funny because when we were up there, I didn't think much of it. I snapped a couple pics and then left. But then that's always the case, right? You leave and then you think more about it and you're like, wait a minute, like something about that just didn't make sense. But that's every single time I've run into a situation like that. That's exactly what happened. Like, wait a minute, like that was weird.
Yeah.
I just, I think if we were backpacking and camping up there, we would have gone back and taken another look. I don't know. I just feel pretty bad about not being able to cast that.
Yeah. Well, Kelly, thank you for sending the photos and for being willing to come on very short notice. And Josh, too. Appreciate you guys always staying in touch. And I look forward to when we can chat again.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Sibylla. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Pleasure to meet you both.
Have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I want to bring our next guest in real quick because she's got a time constraint here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Lisa in. So this is Lisa LaProuse. Hey, Lisa.
Hi, how are you folks?
Good.
We're
How are
doing
you?
awesome.
I'm good.
And Lisa's in Denver. And just tell us a little bit about yourself, Lisa.
I'm retired now. My husband and I had opened up our own business, commercial demolition company, and I sold that 2 years ago. And I'm a retired individual, enjoying life and retirement, and came across a place up in Bailey, and that's what brought me here, to be honest.
Absolutely. And you left a note one day saying that you had a story, and boy, did you have a story. So
yeah,
I want our folks to hear, because this what goes down in my book as one of the more dramatic stories I've ever heard. So
yeah.
So I want you to go ahead and just tell us the story, and then Sibylla and I will probably have some questions. And I've got a Google Earth image here to pull up. I'll let you start telling your story, and then we'll just go from there.
My husband and I were lucky enough to have 3 sons. We owned a second home up in Grand County, and we went up there every weekend. We were avid snowmobilers, avid hikers, all kinds of stuff, dirt bikes, the works. And typically we would go up every Friday after work. I'd pick up the boys from school. They were already packed every Friday morning. Everything got loaded in my truck, and I'd pick them up from school, and my husband would jump in and we'd beat it up the hill to our second home. Retirement plan up there. So anyhow, it just so happened during the winter, in the month of January, we decided to come home on a Sunday night instead of coming home typically early Monday morning. The boys needed to be to school, and we'd spent 2 weeks up there. I recollect this happened in 2007.
Okay.
And so we were on our way down the hill, and my husband had driven up separately in his truck. We had a couple of huge projects going on for demo downtown Denver and in Boulder. We were all over the place. And so we decided just to clean up, pack up, and get down the hill, get back to work. So For some reason, I had all three of our sons in my truck. My eldest, Brandon, was sitting shotgun, and then the two youngest were in the back seat, and they were all still in school. My husband had left before us, but I was only like a quarter of a mile, half mile behind him.
Mhm.
It was around 9 p.m. that night, and took Highway 9 to I-70, and we're going eastbound on I-70 and came up on the Eisenhower Tunnel. When we came up on that, it's generally really bad contact for phones and stuff, especially in the tunnel.
Mhm.
And it was raining, not raining, it was snowing, flurries, just flurries of snow. Not pounding, it wasn't a blizzard by any means. And about halfway through the tunnel, my phone rings, and Brandon answered it, my son, and put it on speaker, seeing that it was his father. And I thought, oh darn, I wonder if something happened to John. And it was on speaker, and all we heard was, Mom, Lisa, slam on your brakes, slam on, you're going to hit it, you're going to hit it, you're going to hit it, slam on your brakes right now. And brings me back to it.
Hmm.
And so I hit the brakes. I was in the fast lane, and I hit the brakes. There was no one else in the tunnel really on a Sunday night at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And John said, did you see it? Did you see it? And as I came in the tunnel, it was on the northbound side of the giant concrete pavilions. Not pavilions, you know what I'm talking about.
The barriers or
Barriers, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon was like, oh my God, what is that? And I just, Matt and Chris woke up in the back seat, and they said, what's going on? What's going on? And Johnny said, honey, you didn't hit it, did you? And I said, no. And he said, stop down here at the bottom of the hill, and we need to talk and stuff. Well, I wasn't crying then. I know I was in shock.
Mm-hmm.
I was in shock, and sorry, guys.
You're fine. Don't worry.
And Brandon just had so many questions, so many questions. And I said, just everybody simmer down. And I had to navigate the park behind Johnny. And I said, hang up, nobody get out of the truck. And I got out because John had gotten out, and we were hugging each other. He was holding me so tight. He was so shook up. And he said, did you see it? Did you see it? And I said, I saw it, but I could only see the backside of it. I didn't see its face. And I said, my God, it was huge. So huge. And John just said, baby, I said, they have questions. And he said, I know. And Brandon finally couldn't stand it. He got out of the truck and he came down and he said, I'm riding with you, Dad. So I had Matt and Chris in my truck with me, and he said, we'll talk about it when we get home. He said, you stay right behind me, Lisa. He was so shook up, he could not sleep at all that night. And it scared him. And my husband was 6'5", huge giant of man, the strongest man I knew besides my eldest son, Brandon. And for something like that to terrify him, spoke volumes to me. and to our friends and to our family, you know?
Well,
And,
this picture, you can explain this to us, Lisa. This is the east end of the Eisenhower Johnson Tunnel. So you would have been coming out of the bottom entrance going east, right?
yep. And you see the concrete right there?
Right in the middle. Yeah.
Right in the middle. Yep. It was jumping over that. So what John said was it had come across in front of his truck.
Oh, wow.
And John was in the right lane, and it had come across in front of his truck, and he thought, oh my God, that's the biggest bear I ever saw. And then he was like, that was no bear. Because it's January, it was flurries and snowing, and no bear is that big, and no bear is out in January on top of Eisenhower Tunnel, you know, crossing the I-70 corridor. And it took us a minute to get to that level, to understand that, to comprehend it, until we were alone in our bed and talked about it. It took us, because you're so shocked by the gravity of what you just saw, that it definitely exists. There is no doubt. With all the conviction I can say, there is no doubt in my mind that this hominid creature exists.
So it ran, did it run in front of him?
It ran. He said it was huge as it tumbled over. And I didn't know he was in the right lane. I was in the fast lane, go figure, me gunning it, trying to catch up to my husband. So, and yeah. And it leaped. I watched it because I was on the brakes. It leaped, Brandon, and I saw it leap over these concrete divisions. It leaped over it. And then I thought, how the hell is it going to get up the hill there? There's so much snow. Where is it going? Where is this creature going?
What color was the creature that you saw?
It was the lights there are so, there is no way, there are cameras everywhere there that they didn't see this.
Yeah.
We saw this creature. There is,
exactly.
Yeah, they saw this creature. It is so lit up there. As anyone knows, it's been through the Eisenhower Tunnel. It is lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yes.
Even brighter.
Yeah.
Brighter than my Christmas tree, which is pretty bright. But it was a brownish red. Brownish red. Very long hair. Very tall. I would say absolutely 8 to 10 feet. Easily.
Did your husband see its face? Did it turn and look at your husband? Wow. Did he describe it?
He said it looked human, but it wasn't. And he didn't want to talk about it anymore. It really disturbed him.
Wow.
It very much disturbed him.
So it came from, let me back up one slide. It came from the woods and the grass down below.
Yep.
And was running to get to the other side, obviously.
Yeah. And I don't know, I mean, if people are watching this, if they haven't been through that's a straight up cliff. That's, there's an area over there where you can park and stuff. And there's a back road to get around, but it's a straight up area. You'd have to be an animal to do that, especially in the dead of winter. January is the dead of winter here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you too well know.
So, how close did you come to hitting it, do you think?
Oh, I came within a few feet
Wow.
because I could see it as both Brandon and I could see it as I was coming out of the tunnel. We could both see it. And it had its back to us because it was jumping over backwards.
Wow. And did it keep running then away from you as you went past? It kept running towards the mountain?
It was over. Yes, it was over where the cars are parked.
Okay.
It was
back to that.
tremendously fast.
Wow.
Isn't it? It's just so amazing to me. It strikes me just how in a split second your whole life can change.
Yes.
I mean, we all know that about life, but especially when it comes to these creatures, like 1 minute. Did you guys have Sasquatch on your radar, Lisa? Did y'all know about these things at all?
Yes. Yeah. Growing up, well, first, let me just say, my husband was fifth generation native to Colorado. They always had second homes up in Tiny Town, all over the place, Grand County and stuff. And my sons are sixth generation. My grandsons and granddaughters are now, but I grew up in Burbank, California. And as a child, we had a ranch up in Oregon. And during the summer, we'd go up there and spend the summer up there. In a very rural community, we had horses, cattle, stuff like that. I grew up without a tire. If I had gotten the memo, I would have wore one for you. In any event, yes, we had some experiences there growing up. We had to pick the berries from the berry bush and stuff. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. But never saw one. Didn't look. But this experience changed my life forever. How I feel about them and seeing them.
Wow.
So how did it change your life? I mean, you kind of knew that they existed, but seeing one of this size, is that what it was? And the effect that it had on your husband?
It scared him. It didn't scare me as much as it scared him. It scared me that he was so scared.
Yeah.
The dynamics of that. He was a disciplinarian. I was not, And so the dynamics of me having to calm him down over it. He just, he didn't want to talk about it for a while. It took a very long time.
Well, and I'm imagining he had the better look because it ran right in front of his truck.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's.
I wish he was here that shared his story.
Yeah, me too.
I wonder if it had a surprised expression. Did he say anything about seeing an expression on its face?
No, he did not go into detail. The only thing he said was that it was looked like the face looked like a giant ape, is all that I can recall. It was humanoid, but it was not human.
Right.
Wow. Well, I was just going to say that's a good point, Sibylla, that it probably was surprised because they were coming out of a tunnel and it may not have seen them approaching. If it came from the side of the tunnel,
right.
And how close was it to the actual where you exited the tunnel? Was it very close to the exit where it crossed?
If you pull that back up again, I can show you exactly.
Yeah.
I'll show you exactly where it was. I wish I could.
I know. I wish I could get you to point to it.
It was, so I'm in this lane. I'm in the far left lane coming out of the tunnel.
Okay.
To my left is the parking lot with the vehicles that you see there parked. So this concrete pad, extended pad, it was within the white area of that.
Okay.
And it was leaping over. I saw my husband's tail lights in the right lane down by where the yellow is.
Wow.
Wow.
That's how close we were.
Okay. So because
maybe
it
that's
came
why.
up from the bottom through the trees and crossed,
Yeah.
I'm sure he didn't see you guys coming until you were out of the tunnel. And then,
no. I was hitting the pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going fast.
So
I
what
just
were you
wanted
gonna
to
ask, Sibylla?
Did y'all continue to go, like, spend a lot of time outdoors, or did it
Yeah. that's a good
affect
question.
your husband?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We love the outdoors.
So,
We raised
so
all three of the sons, biked all over the state.
Mhm.
So seeing this Sasquatch didn't affect his desire to be out in the woods and do all the outdoor things.
Like a fear of seeing another Sasquatch or
No, I don't think so, because at that point in our life, we became adrenaline junkies. I hate to say that. And we lived on our dirt bikes, our quads, our rafts, and our snowmobiles. So I'm just being honest here. So,
No, that's good.
I mean, we just played hard. We worked hard and we played hard. So
I'm happy to hear that it didn't change that aspect of your life.
Yeah,
That makes me happy. Yeah.
I hope so. I know that a lot of people have a different story and they're affected a different way than mine. Quite frankly, I find it pretty cool that we have another subspecies out there.
Yeah.
And I wonder what they bring to the table for us, you know?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it, you know?
And how
Like I
about
said,
your sons? How about your sons? Did you talk to your sons? Did y'all talk about it? I know your husband didn't want to talk about it, but did you and Brandon and your other sons talk about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We did. We shared it with our friends. They shared it with everybody in school. Everybody they knew. Like, oh my God. So, yeah, unfortunately, I know my eldest son, Brandon, would have been here, but we lost him last year. So,
So sorry.
he definitely would have done
Yeah.
this kind of podcast, I'd like to think. So,
Yeah.
Do your friends believe you when you tell them this story?
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, this is quite a story. I mean,
Well, you're
when you
lying
agree,
to me.
Sibylla, this is
Yes.
this is a dramatic. I mean, I'm trying to imagine if you had hit this thing or your husband had hit it.
Oh,
what the
that's why
consequences
he
would
was
have
so
been.
scared. That's exactly what he was feared of. His wife
Right.
and all three of his children. His life is in
Yeah.
my truck, in my hands, and he's in front of me alone. That was a catapult for his fear. Like, this will never happen again. We will never drive up separately. If we do,
Wow.
this one night this happened, this is what's going to happen.
Wow.
You know, we bought another vehicle, left it up there. Yeah, no.
Oh, it changed a lot then.
By that time, yeah.
I mean, people have hit them. I'm convinced people have hit them.
Mhm.
You don't hear those stories very much, but as big as that was, I mean, who knows? It could have come in your windshield. It would have totaled your vehicle for no doubt.
We had power strokes, the biggest trucks you could have, F-350s, crew cabs. I mean, these things were monsters. And God, I miss that power, but it's so fast and everything and strong.
Yeah.
But we were hauling 30-foot fully enclosed trailers and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Well,
I
yeah,
know.
it would have been devastating.
Yeah. I know you've got some time constraints here. I want to be sensitive to that. So, any other thoughts, Sibylla? Do you want to ask Lisa?
No, I'm just so thankful that they
Yes.
did not hit, either your husband hit it or you guys hit it.
Yeah.
And thank God that he got a call through to you in the tunnel, which is, that almost seems like divine, that like the finger of God right there.
It is divine. I firmly believe that was divine intervention, because it just they never work.
No.
Never work in the tower.
Yeah,
Never.
but it did. Like it did that time.
Thousands of times.
Yeah. Do you think you would have
And
hit
for
it
that
if you
one
hadn't
time,
slammed on the brakes? I wonder.
Absolutely. I would have hit it. There's no doubt in my mind. Had my husband not called me, I would have hit it. No doubt.
I mean,
Wow.
there were split seconds of time to make that call and for you to get it and to break. I mean, this was really just seconds of time.
That gives me chills.
I know.
It gives me chills. I mean, I definitely believe that divine intervention happened here. So, yeah.
And I'll bet that Sasquatch still talks about it today. You know, that day that I nearly got hit by that vehicle.
Granddaughter and grandsons, everything.
Yeah, everybody. and his family's like, no, no way that happened.
Stories again.
Oh, I'm so glad it came out the way it did.
Yes. Well, Lisa, we're so grateful you came on, and our condolences for your loss. I really feel for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
He's in a good place now.
Well,
so
it means even more that you would come on the show after having gone through all that. So thank you.
No worries.
Yes.
Thank you guys. This was fun.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Hey, you guys have an awesome day. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
I know. Ooh.
Wow. In so many ways. I mean, just her loss, for one, just overwhelms me. And the story. I mean, you hear about them crossing roads, but you rarely hear about somebody coming that close to nailing one. And
the devastating effect it would have had, like he said, his entire family was in the truck behind him.
Yes. I can just imagine trying to call my wife. She's maybe a quarter of a mile behind me, and thinking there's no way this call is going to get through in time. You know, she has to pick up, and I mean, just
so many things had to happen just perfectly in order for it to end the way it did.
Yes.
That's why it has to be divine providence right there.
Unbelievable. I agree. It was, unbelievable. I mean, just the stories we have the privilege of hearing, like this one, that, I mean, who could watch this and Lisa's emotion and think, nah, Sasquatch don't really exist. You know, it's just, why would anyone make this story up, especially after losing your son, and be willing to go on a show? Yeah. And your husband. And just unbelievable. So if you're watching and you're a skeptic, think again.
Yeah. My heart just goes out to her.
My heart goes out to her so much. And this is not an easy thing to tell the story. And so we are very privileged, and I'm sure we'll have some great discussion on the chat when we actually put this on. We're going to show this episode in 2 weeks, I believe. So very, very dramatic, but I ever since she told me this story, and I've gone through the Eisenhower Tunnel a couple times, and I think about this coming out the other end, and I think, man, what that would have been like to have this thing leaping over the barrier. Just wow.
What's the speed limit? What's the speed limit in the Eisenhower Tunnel?
Oh, it must be 50, I'm guessing, or 50. It can't be over 55 because there's too much that can go wrong if there's an accident in the Eisenhower Tunnel. So probably 50, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But
It
she
just
said
kinda-
she was going fast trying to catch up with him.
That's right. She was. So she might have been going more like 55 or 60. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It kind of makes me just real quiet inside. It's such a sobering, what she shared with us was so sobering.
Yeah.
It makes you,
Yeah,
it
me
makes you
too.
really kind of, quiet spiritually and thank God for the way it went down.
Yeah. It just makes you want to think about it for a little while. 'Cause,
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
that was just so dramatic. And I've alluded to this story before, but there's no way I can tell this story the way Lisa can tell this story because she was
No.
there. So
Well, the fact
No.
that it still has such an impact on her.
yes. Yeah. Thank you again, Lisa. If you watch this again after the fact, thank you again for coming on and giving us the privilege and the honor of hearing your story from your lips.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
who knows, Sibylla, maybe one of these days she'll be another opportunity for you to sketch her story and her Sasquatch as she remembers him. So we never asked her if she thought it was a male or a female, but it must have happened so fast. I doubt she had time to notice
Yeah. To work.
those details. So, well, I think we are going to end this episode today. And thank you guys for watching. It just occurred to me, Sibylla, I think this is the episode when you are going to be away with your
Yes,
daughter.
I'm going to be in Ballinger with my daughter.
So I'll try and cover for you with the chats. So,
Well, I can probably be in the chat, hopefully.
well, good. Oh, I
I
hope
might
so.
be driving. Yeah, I might
Okay.
be driving, or if I'm not driving, I'll be in the chat with y'all.
Good. Well, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Well, it's another dramatic story, another life-changing event with our favorite hairy friend, Sasquatch. So until next time, keep on squatching.
Bye-bye.